My favorite Styx record. I'm proud of you.
I was never. I didn't really like listen to Styx all that much when I was a kid. But you know what it is? It's an American version of Queen. That's exactly what Styx is.
It's how they started, but
It's
then
very bombastic and big, and it almost feels like a Broadway musical, just kind of like a hard rock Broadway musical, you know?
yeah, then listen. Then after you just heard Pieces of Eight, listen to Cornerstone, and you'll be like, "What the fuck just happened?"
And it also feels like a concept album anyway, because I know Kilroy was here, because that is a concept album, right?
Right? Yeah, that is a
I
concept
mean,
album.
that's like the end of their career too, pretty much. Even
Well,
though,
that was Dennis, dude. I am like the biggest diehard Styx fan. Styx and Rush were like Styx, Genesis, Rush. Those are like my three favorite bands. So, and of course, I'm from Chicago, so I know everything about Styx.
hmm wait, which
Um,
incarnation of Genesis are you talking about?
I'm a Collins Genesis guy.
Oh, okay.
Gabriel, no disrespect against Gabriel. I just have always preferred Collins. It's just me. Um, but when it came to Styx, Dennis was the one that fucked it all up. I mean, you had Tommy and JY wanted to do rock and roll, and then Dennis wants to do this like theatrical shit, and he figured it was his right. He figured this good idea was to merge it all together, and it didn't work. All
hmm
that did was drive a spike in the band.
Well, that's well, life story of every rock band. What can I say? Okay, let me see. I think I'm all set. I think I got you synced up. We're recording. Are we recording? Hello. Yes. Yeah. I've got the mic on a big stand today, so I can have my hands free a little more. All right, I just gotta get this out.
So I say I'm the cheap ass. I just use my iPhone.
You don't sound that terrible. You tend to sound just a little bit tinny. That's all.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
mean,
okay.
obviously, if I could if I didn't just spend $270 on my car yesterday, that would have. Oh, you know what's sad? We could
Mm.
have fucking recorded yesterday.
Why?
Okay, so get this. My car was done at so 2:30 your time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't have been able to record. Yeah, we wouldn't have been able to record. Or actually, no, I lied. We should have recorded yesterday because they didn't get my car. They didn't call me until like 3 o'clock,
So
4 o'clock your time.
we could
Yeah,
have
we
at
could have
least
just
gotten an hour in.
recorded, and we wouldn't have had to
That's
reschedule.
all right.
Yeah,
It's
but then
given me
here's
more.
the
It's given
ironic
me
part.
20.
They would have called me in the middle of our. If they would have called me when they were supposed to call me,
Mhm.
they would have called me in the middle of us recording.
Well, again,
They were supposed to
it gave
call
me
me at
24
1:30.
extra hours to process because I came like really woefully unprepared for this discussion anyway because we're talking about the Oscars. Oh wait, first I have to tell you about a movie I saw 2 days ago that changed my life and gave me hope for the human race.
What movie was this?
Grizzly II: Revenge,
Oh my
starring
God,
George Clooney,
no.
Charlie Sheen, and Laura Dern in the first 10 minutes, and then fucking Sala from Raiders of the Lost Ark. And Deborah Foreman, and also Deborah Raffin, and a bunch of other people. Okay, now I'm going to tell you this. This restored my faith in humanity because this movie was so terrible. I mean, it was so terrible. It made me feel so much better about myself. It was a movie that made me feel better. It should have gotten an Oscar for most inspirational movie ever made.
Why, for the
This was
sheer fact that it even came out after 30 plus years of being in the can?
I was like, I had it on my DVR for a long time, for over a year, because I had heard stories about it. I was like, oh, Grizzly II, I've heard about this movie. So I time taped it a long time ago, and then we watched it, because this is our week of silly cinema. I guess we're doing silly cinema this week.
Oh, I
So,
got one for you right after this, but go right ahead.
so watching the movie was just like, it was so, the movie was basically Jaws. Redwoods, but it's not. It's actually Hungary. It's so bizarre that they got a section of Hungary to look like California. Because when I think of Hungary, I think of cold weather, black and white, machine guns and boots,
Yeah, you think of
and walls and
you
stuff.
just
Um,
yeah.
and the movie is basically Jaws, and it even steals two shots from the power cable. Whoever put this movie together zoomed in and cropped the image to take the shark out and just keep the teeth. And it was so, oh my God, I could not believe this movie. I could not believe another thing is I couldn't believe they got all these talented people. I mean, they had of course,
Well,
they
yeah,
had
yeah. The whole before they
the
were
kids at the
stars type thing,
beginning,
yeah.
but they also had Sala. John Rice Davies is in this movie. He plays the Quint character. There's a Quint, there's a Hooper, and there's a Brody. So,
And what the fuck was he doing in this? That's what I want to know. What the fuck? That's like Burt Young and Blood Beach.
Maybe it's like John Huston's story about Planet of the Apes. You take the money.
I get. It's like, hey, whatever they offer, you fucking take it. I guess.
Yeah,
I don't.
take the money. That's what you do. But it was just so. I mean, this is like a Tommy Wiseau level of incompetence attached to this film. There've been other like similar type movies, but those movies have only depressed me. This I could really feel like the filmmaker was trying so hard to make this look like a good movie.
All right.
Just failing miserably, and it was just so. I felt passion. I mean, we were all laughing together. Actually, me, my wife, and Regan. We were just watching this movie, just laughing our asses off at how badly made it was.
I guess that's good, but you know what? I'm gonna see.
It really brought us together for a little while.
I'm gonna see your hand. I'm gonna raise you one. Lawnmower Man 2, Job's War.
Oh fuck! I never saw that. I saw the first.
Dude, I have never made it through it. And
you told me. Wait, did you post the thing about Deep Blue Sea?
No, that wasn't me.
Okay, somebody posted something about. Oh no, it was Hassler. Okay, it was Hassler. He posted about Apparently, there was a Deep Blue Sea 2 and 3, and I never even heard of these movies.
Oh yeah, because they're all direct to video. No, like the whole thing with Lawnmower Man 2. I love the first movie. Like I loved that movie when I was a kid, and I still love the first movie. Director's cut is better than the theatrical cut. Fuck that theatrical cut, but I digress.
I enjoyed it too.
I have tried on many occasions to try to watch Lawnmower Man 2. I can't do it. Like I always fucking fall asleep. And last night it was rinse, wash, repeat. It literally was. I got 45 minutes in and out like a light. I fucking went. Like that movie.
So you still have no clue what the movie's
about. That movie should not exist. That movie should have never been fucking made.
Oh sure, yeah, definitely.
It made no sense because Job fucking is like at the very end of the movie, Job is in fucking cyberspace for all we know, and all of a sudden when the second movie opens, he's alive.
Is this still Jeff Fahey?
No, it's fucking Matt Frewer, Max Headroom himself.
Matt Frewer? They had Matt Frewer replace him. Okay, that's.
Oh, the movie, dude.
That doesn't make any sense though, because the first Lawnmower Man movie wasn't exactly a hit or anything.
Actually, yes, it was.
Didn't it get bad press also from Stephen King because he said they basically just ripped him off?
Because Stephen King sued to get his name taken off of it, and that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
Because they deviated too far from the original story to the point where it couldn't even be called a Stephen King adaptation anymore. There was that, but the fact is the movie was made for $10 million and it made 3 times what it cost. So the movie made money. And this was New Line Cinema in 92.
Oh, okay.
So this was New Line before the whole Ted Turner,
so it's not
Warner. They were still an independent studio at the time.
It technically wasn't a hit though.
But it did well on home video. That was the big thing. It did gangbusters on home video because then that director's cut came out and it was revised and people, said it was a much better movie because of the stuff they put back in.
I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I mean, despite all the bad mouthing, I did enjoy it.
But that second movie, man, that's one of them. It's like, what the fuck, man? New Line, you're trying to bleed that well dry. And you know what? No wonder you got bought by Ted Turner and then you got absorbed into Warner. Because that New Line made some bad sequels.
Well, I'll tell you about Grizzly II. It's like those terrible like Sharknado type movies that they show on Sci-Fi. It's just sort of made from such a level of incompetence. It's just shocking. And then to have that cast, I mean, to have a bunch of names in the cast, it's just mind-blowing. Because obviously they had, you know what I read actually, right after they shot the scenes with Clooney and Sheen and Laura Dern, the producer fled the set because he had no money to continue shooting. Did you
ever listen to that podcast that came out about that?
No, I never did.
Go on Spotify podcast because that's totally free. Or you know what? Maybe on Apple Podcasts. I'm not sure. There's this podcast called The Industry with Dan Delgado. He does this whole podcast about how Grizzly II, got made. He talks to an actual producer, and she tells the whole story about how the producer fucking fled the set, with no money and this like that. It's a great fucking podcast.
I think he made a bunch of. I think he made a bunch of promises and ran off. And it's like, yeah, you got your money.
It's a miracle the movie even came out after all these years. It's nothing short of a miracle. Now that being said, if we could get The Day the Clown Cried, I'd love that. I'd love to see that.
I've seen bits and pieces of that over the years, but they say that they're not. I mean, the thing is, Hollywood is such poor taste anyway. Didn't Roberto Benigni make a similar movie?
Life is Beautiful. And adversely, Robin Williams did the same thing. He made Jacob the Liar.
Right, exactly.
So it's like, and then I don't know what Jerry Lewis's fucking problem was with this whole Day the Clown cried thing. I really don't know what his issue was.
I
The
think
sto-
no, I don't know that it was necessarily him, but I do know that some company came up, swept in, and bought the rights to the film and are keeping it buried. Although, from what I understand, Jerry Lewis made an agreement that said the movie could be released 10 years after he died. Or something.
Right. I was just going to get into that point. So there is still hope it may come out. I mean, shit, dude. Romero's Lost movie came out last year. That the amusement park came out last year, and that was a lost film, but it finally came out.
Right, but there's one other thing though. When a movie comes out that has been buried for years, then the excitement is gone. The anticipation is over once the movie's like that Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah,
you know.
But the story behind how it came out is much more interesting than the movie itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the story, like how it was saved.
I'd love
like
to see
Corman wanted it destroyed, but then like some guy thought it would be a bright idea to make a fucking VHS copy of it, and that is literally the only source, and it's been copied over and over again.
Very quickly, what's your take on the whole Batgirl thing? I think that movie will be released eventually. I do not think they destroyed it. I think they're lying about a lot of things in connection to the movie.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll make it easy.
That's my opinion.
With this whole conversation that we're going to have today, if Brendan Fraser wins the Oscar, it may come out.
There you go. Well, I mean, I think the nomination is kind of a victory in and of itself, right?
Yeah. But he was
what if he wins the Oscar, goes up on stage and says, "Release the Batgirl cut"?
That would be awesome.
That would be cool. And also, there's a Holocaust against cows and don't drink milk. He should do a Joaquin Phoenix too. One more thing I wanted to mention: there was a movie that I was unable to watch back in 2006 because my wife was pregnant and about to give birth to our daughter. I finally we got around to seeing it on Sunday. It was called Black Snake Moan.
I fucking love that movie.
Samuel L. Jackson and Christina Ricci and inexplicably Justin Timberlake. I want to tell you this. This is probably going to disappoint you because I figured you'd like the movie. I mean, actually, my wife and daughter really loved the movie too, and we argued about it for about solid hour afterward. I really did not like the final act of the movie. It had a No Country for Old Men ending where nothing happens, and I remember when the movie came out, they sold it as a grindhouse flick.
Right,
okay?
They did.
I was expecting revenge. I was expecting Samuel L. Jackson to pick up a shotgun and kill that guy who left Christina Ricci for dead and beat up her boyfriend. I was expecting that. There was no closure. Instead, it ends on the side of the road with Justin Timberlake having an anxiety attack. That was not the ending that I wanted to see for this movie, so that ending kind of ruined the movie for me. I guess
you're right. It was a little anticlimactic.
Three-quarters of that movie was brilliant. It was fucking brilliant, and it should have been. I wanted to see somebody maybe sacrifice their life. Maybe I can just see Samuel L. Jackson with a shotgun, just killing this guy totally. I mean, that's what should have happened. But no, I guess they decided to go some other way.
Oh well, I still like the movie though. I mean,
I want to call it Black Snake Shrug
because
I was just like,
Shrug.
Okay,
or Black Snake Whimper.
I mean, it went out with a whimper, not a bang.
Yeah, pretty much.